Good evening. An ITV investigation has found that nearly 3/4 of sex offenders in the Durham Police Force area who applied were able to successfully remove their names from the sex offenders register.
The register is a system that allows the police to keep track of those convicted of a sexual offence. A legal challenge in 2010 meant sex offenders could apply to have their names removed from it.
Well, Durham's figures, uncovered by Good Morning Britain, are above the average for England. Amy Lee reports.
It's a system that's been in operation since 1997, designed to reassure the public and track convicted sex offenders. But now it's been revealed that in the UK, more than 1,200 people have had their name completely removed from it. 30 offenders in the Durham Police Force area appealed to have their name removed. 22 were successful, 73%. 13 of those had been convicted of sexual offences with a child under the age of 16. In the Cleveland Police Force area, 17 offenders appealed to have their name removed. 5 were successful, 29%. 3 of those had been convicted of sexual offences with a child under the age of 16. The figures from Durham Police are between 2012 and March 2018, and they are above average compared to other police forces in England. But they say they take decisions like this extremely seriously. They follow strict Home Office guidance and only consider those thought to be of low risk. They went on to say those who are deemed to pose a risk to the public will remain on the sex offenders register for life if necessary. Offenders who do apply must have been on the register for at least 15 years, and there must be no intelligence indicating any concerns about safeguarding the public. But for those supporting victims of sexual abuse, the very idea that any sex offender should be able to deregister with the police is seen as deeply concerning.
The thing with sex offending is it's very unpredictable. People can say, oh, you know, they've done the time, that they've had 15 years of being monitored. But how close is the monitoring? Are they really behaving? Are they really doing what they're saying they're doing?
None of the police forces asked were able to say whether any offenders no longer on the register had gone on to commit further offences. Across the country, there are still over 55,000 sex offenders whose names remain on that register.
Well, Amy Lee is with us now. Amy, if you are on the register, what kind of information is held about you?
Well, it's quite a lot of information, Pam. It's obviously not just your name and address. The police will also ask for things like bank details, national insurance numbers, details of any children that may be living with you. They may also ask for passport details, and you may have to inform the police of any plans to travel abroad. You will also be subject to home visits, and that's so the police can check that the information you've given and your circumstances described are accurate.
And we heard in your report about Durham and Cleveland as a force area. What do we know about the other police forces in our region?
Well, we didn't hear from Northumbria and North Yorkshire Police. They didn't respond to the team of journalists from Good Morning Britain that were doing this investigation. That was the same for some other police forces across the country as well. Now, Michelle Screer is from the National Police Chiefs Council, and she's really keen to reassure people that they do try and take into account victims when making these types of decisions.
We involve the victims, so victims can notify their local police force if they want to be notified if a registered sex offender, that appertaining to them is applying to come off the register, and we take their views into consideration. But it's got to be part of the whole risk assessment before we make that decision. So it's very, very difficult for victims, I completely agree with you, but it's about trying to take their views into consideration whilst we make that decision as to whether they stay on the register or come off.
Now, as you heard in my report there, police are keen to reassure people that they are taking this extremely seriously. They will only look at offenders they think are at low risk to the public, taking the public's concerns into consideration as well. And they do follow strict Home Office guidance, and somebody has to have been on the register for at least 15 years before they can be reconsidered to come off. Cleveland Police, whose figure you also saw in that report there, said they are too following very strict guidelines and take these decisions extremely seriously, with all forces stressing that they assess them each on a case-by-case basis.
OK, Amy, thanks for explaining that to us. Thank you.